Have you ever been lying awake at like 3 in the morning and your brain just starts asking these huge, impossible questions about life? It's a totally human thing to do, to search for meaning. Today, we're going to dive into what happens when that search starts to feel, well, a little overwhelming.
It usually starts with this simple but absolutely massive question that kind of just pops into your head in the quiet moments. What's the point of all this? And that one question, it's often the doorway to a much, much deeper look at our own existence.
And pretty soon, that first question invites its friends over. The heavy hitters, questions about suffering and death, love and our purpose. Now, just asking these is completely normal, but when you start to really wrestle with them and you can't find easy answers, you can get this feeling of unease or even fear. It's often called existential dread.
Sometimes that dread can get cranked up to 11 and turn into what we call an existential crisis. This is where you're not just asking the questions anymore, you're completely swamped by them. This often happens after a big life event, like a major loss or some kind of trauma that just forces you to rethink everything you thought you knew.
And when that crisis just hangs around, when those feelings of despair and hopelessness don't go away, that can lead to something called existential depression. It's a state where the sheer weight of these unanswerable questions just leaves you feeling stranded, like you're in a world that doesn't have any real meaning.
So, what does that actually look like? Well, you might stop caring about things you used to love, because they suddenly seem pointless. You might pull away from your friends, thinking, well, all relationships end eventually, so what's the use? It's this deep, sinking feeling that nothing you do really matters, mixed with this heavy hopelessness about the world in general.
To get a better handle on this feeling, let's try an analogy. Okay, picture this. You've been at an amazing party, laughing with your friends, you feel on top of the world. But then, on the way home, this wave of emptiness just washes over you. Some people call it the post-party blues or a happiness hangover. That sudden drop from a huge emotional high to a surprising low, it happens because all those feel-good chemicals in our brain just got used up. But here's the interesting part. That temporary feeling can actually be a little window into a much more constant and often invisible kind of struggle. And this often gets connected to something called high-functioning depression. This is where a person can still go to work, they can meet their deadlines, show up to social stuff, all while fighting this huge internal battle that nobody else even knows is happening. What's so wild about this is the incredible contrast, right? On the outside, you see someone who's totally got it together. They're reliable, they're present, but on the inside, it's a constant fight against low energy, not finding joy in anything, and just feeling like you're one wrong move away from everything collapsing. That is such a heavy burden to carry, especially when you feel like you have to carry it all by yourself.
But what if the answer isn't about avoiding suffering, but finding meaning inside of it? This question brings us to the incredible work of Viktor Frankl. He was a psychiatrist who survived the absolute horrors of the Nazi concentration camps, and he wrote this profound book, Man's Search for Meaning. Frankl saw unimaginable suffering, but he also saw unbelievable resilience. And he realized that even when people were stripped of literally everything, their homes, their families, their dignity, there was still one last freedom nobody could take away, the power to choose their own attitude.
And this quote just brilliantly sums up his main point. If you have a reason to live, a why, you can put up with almost any hardship, anyhow. Your purpose becomes like a shield that protects you from despair. But here's the key. Frankl realized this meaning isn't something you just stumble upon. It's something you have to actively build for yourself.
All of Frankl's experiences led him to this game-changing conclusion. Our deepest, most fundamental drive as human beings isn't for pleasure or even for happiness. It's for meaning. That search for meaning is what gives us the strength to keep going, even when times are at their absolute darkest. Okay, so how do we actually do that? Well, we can start with a few simple steps. First, just explore your values. What really, truly matters to you. Then, find tiny ways to live by those values every single day. And finally, contribute to something bigger than yourself. Volunteer. Really listen to a friend. Share your kindness. These small acts create these powerful ripples of meaning. This whole idea of small actions creating big changes, it connects to this really cool concept from chaos theory called the butterfly effect. The idea is that something as small as the flutter of a butterfly's wings in Brazil could, theoretically, set off a chain of events that eventually causes a tornado in Texas.
And we can totally apply this to our own lives. Making these tiny, positive shifts in our habits or our thoughts can have this huge, unpredictable impact on our mental health down the road. One little change can set a completely different future in motion. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
All right, another powerful tool for your toolkit is mindfulness. See, when we're all tangled up in these huge unanswerable questions about the future or regrets about the past, we completely miss the meaning that's available to us right here, right now. Just focusing on the present moment can help you see the joy and value that's already in your life.
Frankl argued that by facing our suffering and finding meaning right in the middle of it, we can reach this incredible sense of inner peace. It's this realization that, wow, after surviving the worst, there's really not much left to be afraid of.
He had a name for this: tragic optimism. And it's not about ignoring pain or pretending everything's great. It's about our human ability to stay optimistic and find meaning even when we're facing tragedy, suffering, and death. It's a conscious choice to say yes to life, no matter what it throws at you.
This quote, wow, it just perfectly captures the essence of his whole philosophy. Humanity is capable of both unimaginable evil and incredible, breathtaking nobility. And in the end, what we become isn't decided by our circumstances, but by our choices.
So Frankl's ultimate insight was to completely flip the question. Instead of us asking life, what is your meaning? We have to realize that life is asking us. Every day, every single moment, life is posing that question to you. Our job isn't to find some single universal answer. Our job is to create our own answer through our actions, our love, and our courage. So, life's asking, what's your answer going to be?